Hello, this is the TradeSite U.S. Stocks and Futures Market Preview for Tuesday, December 18th, 2018. Hope you had a good trading week. Here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. This is a daily chart of the broad market in futures form. This is the proper way to look at the market. We are at the lows of the year. Everybody's underwater at this point if you invested in 2018. Let's go through the daily charts of the major indices. Then we'll look at the intraday action, talk about what's coming out on Tuesday. Remember, it's going to be a week of options expiration, triple expiration, heading into Christmas holiday, that type of stuff. Here's crude oil, down 50 cents to 49.38. So crude oil is the shining bright object here. It's good for everybody. It should be lower prices at the pump. I just filled up my gas tank the other day. Wasn't as low as it should be given this price, but you know that's how it always goes. So we are hoping for lower prices at the pump, and that should help the economy. Here's gold down $1.40. That's not a big deal. It hasn't really run up or down. It's up a little bit for the last couple months. S&P cash index loses 54 points. Lowest close of the year. All gains for the year erased. Whenever you bought the market this year, it's over. You're down, generally speaking. Is what it is. Nasdaq 100 down 146.57, down lowest close since early April, and one of the 5 lowest closes of the year again. So again, we're just in trouble here on the Nasdaq side. It's an interesting time of year for this to happen. I mean, again, we got the triple expiration. We've got, if I look at the calendar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and a half full days left of trading. This is not a normal thing. This hasn't happened since 1980 that the market's been down in December like this. So be aware. And again, we talked about this back in November. When the market's up for the year, nobody wants to sell stocks starting about November 15th. The market runs. Nobody wants to take their profits to Apple or Google or anything else and lock in those tax gains. But we're not up for the year. And so, now there's some reports of some very bad Christmas numbers, and we've got some other issues globally. And obviously, we've got some issues with the current administration and their standing. So it's a problem for the markets, and typically next week should be dead. It should be a bust. Nobody trades. I mean, volume cuts in half. Everybody's gone. Having said that, maybe not. Maybe not next week. Maybe it'll be interesting. The SOX down 15 points. That's not new lows for the year, but it's very close. Now here's the one that's a really big deal. Russell 2000, the 2000 stocks, the small cap index, down 20% now for the year from the high. This is a correction. When you're down 20%, we call it an official correction. We're down that much, and obviously down for the year by kind of a lot, actually. I mean, almost 200 points. Not good. The VIX up 2.89. That's a big deal, but it's not a big deal. The VIX over 40 is a climatic bottom. We got it in February when the market didn't fall apart like this. We're not getting it now. This is really interesting to watch. The trend 1.02 is what it is. Nasdaq volume 2.7 billion. So the best volume in the last week or so. That's fine. Advanced decline ratio on the Nasdaq negative 1863. One of the 5 worst days of the year. On the New York negative 2168. One of the 5 worst days of the year. So both of them. Google down 26.06. Not at lows yet, but it's getting close. Apple down $1.54. That's not as bad as some of Apple's days lately, but it's still down quite a bit. Netflix loses 4.04. Amazon down 71 even. That's almost 5% on Amazon. Tesla down 17.29, but it's near highs. Facebook down 3.87. Goldman Sachs loses 4.76. This thing's in a free fall. This is down the whole year. It's been up like less than 2 months of the whole year. TLT, the 20-year bond ETF, up 69 cents. Nasdaq 100 down 500. I'm sorry, the Dow down 507. So is that the lowest close of the year? Yep, it actually is. Lowest close of the year on the Dow. It hasn't not the lowest trading point of the year, but very close to it. All right, let's take a look at the intraday action 5-minute candle. So a small gap down. We reached up and filled. We went into lunch. By the middle of lunch, we had gone basically nowhere versus the open, but then the afternoon was a sell-off. Here's the Nasdaq side. Same stuff. No big surprise here. Look, there's a bunch of stories floating out there about the election, and it'd be nice to get over that stuff. But at the end of the day, look, you got tax cuts that are building up the deficit. Not good for the economy at all. You've got a lot of things that are not stacked in favor of the economy. The election is what it is. It's over. Hopefully we fix things going forward. I don't think Christmas is going to be good from a numbers perspective. I haven't seen any evidence that it would be, which is why the market's sliding. That's it. Nothing positive out there. If you're trying to buy this bounce, then you're not a trader. Stocks And futures look lower to me over time. I don't know if that'll be a big deal next week because nobody's around. But if we melt down the last week of the year, that'll be one of the few times that's ever happened in history. Charts, as usual, brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple weeks. Have a great trading